So I've been a little distracted lately, and I've been working on a project for school, so just to let you know what's been going on. But I've also been watching movies for my 30 days, 30 films sort of movie challenge that I spontaneously decided to do on the first day of the month. And so it'll be going on this entire month, and I'm one movie behind, I think. That's how it's been going. I've been watching great films, but then also there have been a few misses. So I guess it's kind of like 50-50 at this point with things that I've liked and things that I didn't like. I know what I'm going to do though in terms of the videos for this sort of challenge project thing. So I'm going to do at least 11 videos total, like for sure. And so 10 of them will be discussing 3 films within each video. Just kind of an overview and my thoughts and like what the movies are about. And then an 11th video at the end of the month, probably a little bit later into July it'll be posted because I have to get it all together and stuff like that. But I would like to do a sort of compilation video just with like clips from all the movies that I watched. Which I'm a little nervous about because there's only one other video on my channel that has copyrighted content, and just like I watch a lot of people who have issues with using movie clips or song clips, so it's gonna make me nervous, but I'm at least gonna also upload it onto like Vimeo or something like that. I mean, I haven't even made it. I've been saving clips, but I don't know how long that'll take. It'll be, I want it to be great though, okay? Yeah, so I'd like to do that video. And then so far there have been a couple movies that I've watched that I would like to do more of a sort of video essay format kind of video on those films. So far there's 2, but maybe there will be more as I continue to watch movies this month. So like I said, I'm a day behind, or like I'm a movie behind in terms of days, but it doesn't really matter because there can be a day later on in the month that I watch like 3 films in, or like, you know, during the day. I may also end up being a little bit behind around the 21st because that's my birthday and I don't know if I'll be watching a movie that day. I'm not sure what my plans are yet. So this video is going to be talking about the first 3 films that I watched this month. The first 3 films to talk about in terms of this 30 days, 30 films movie challenge. Also, if you want to keep up with like the movies that I've been watching, I will link my Instagram in the description. I've been updating it every day or so with the movies in order of when I've been watching them. I do usually post those like the day after, just so that my description can have a little bit more thought put into it. So you can keep up with what I'm watching on my Instagram or my Twitter, but I also like my Twitter, I tend to just like post a lot of K-pop stuff as well, so like you don't have to follow me on Twitter. So the very first film that I watched this month was Equinox Flower from 1958, directed by Yasujiro Ozu, I think that's his first name. I forgot to write it down. But I wanted to watch another film from Ozu because I had watched Good Morning for Daisuke Beppu's like live stream film club thing that he has going on, and I really liked Good Morning. And I chose Equinox Flower because it was made right before. That was the film that Ozu did before Good Morning, and I wanted to watch something that had a similar style with the way that the film looks. I didn't want to go to his earlier films. I wanted something that just looked more like Good Morning and had a similar tone, even though Good Morning is definitely more of a satirical and like has more comedic moments to it. And while Equinox Flower does have some comedy sprinkled in there, it's more of like a family drama. And I think, except for one movie that was a rewatch for me, this I think is the film that stood out the most so far this month and is my favorite. So that may be an indication of this is one of the films that I would like to do a video on that is more of like a video essay format, and just thoroughly discuss it more and like have like a written script, like write something first. So the thing that sticks out to me the most in this film is the sort of theme of the stages of life, and specifically marriage as the next stage in life, or the taking, you know, that step in life. I did think that differences between men and women would be a sort of theme throughout the film, but that only showed up like a couple of times, and it was definitely more about marriage and, again, stages of life. I should probably tell you what Equinox Flower is about before I get into more details of the film. So it's about a father who has a couple of daughters, and his oldest daughter is at that age where she should be getting married soon and starting a family of her own, and he and his wife are thinking about setting an arranged marriage for her because they don't think that she has a boyfriend, but then it turns out that she does, and he soon asks the father for his permission to marry the daughter so that they can move to Osaka, I think. But he's getting transferred in work, so this becomes sort of a rushed occasion, but the father is not very inclined to say yes. He doesn't want to approve of this marriage. So it's about this family, but specifically the dad sort of coming to terms with and coping with the situation and trying to accept it more, even though he's very reluctant, especially because something, I hate saying this, but like something that was interesting in the film is that there are a couple other young female characters. He has another daughter who's younger, and he approaches her in a different way than he does the oldest daughter. And then the oldest daughter has a friend that he also gives like opposing advice to compared to how he's acting with his own daughter. And the father's contradiction in things that he says, to me, is just further implication of like just opposing thoughts that he has. So many different emotions that I interpret, at least. Even though he and his wife the previous day were just talking about arranging Setsuko's, that's the oldest daughter, her marriage, then the next day after that, the boyfriend comes and asks for permission to marry her. And he seems like taken back and very surprised, but again, he didn't know that his daughter had a boyfriend. But it seems to me that it's marriage as a topic, and marriage for his daughter is an unexpected step. And to go along with that, there are a few other opposing thoughts or opposing situations that are discussed within the film. First, you have, of course, the arranged marriage versus two people who are in love and want to get married because they love each other. And also with things that happen with other characters, there's like the proper courting situation, and then there's another girl around the same age as Setsuko, and she left her home and she has a boyfriend. So you have like proper relationship, proper dating compared to leaving home. And then a couple other things that go along with the stages of life. The opening scene is the father at a wedding of a different couple that you don't see throughout the rest of the film. But the next day he has a funeral to go to. And it's just one day he's at a wedding and one day he's at a funeral. People are getting married, people are dying, depending on where they are in their life. And you don't see him go to the funeral, but I just thought that I would mention that. And then another thing is that he has a reunion with the people that he went to school with, and they're all talking about their children and how they're getting older, and, you know, their daughters are going to be married and their sons are going to be married and have kids of their own, and then essentially be doing the same thing, talking about their children with their friends who also have children. It's just the cycle of life. And then stylistically, what I really liked about Ozu's film, having seen Good Morning and now Equinox Flower, to me, he's like the Japanese Wes Anderson. Just to put it like as simply as possible, just to get going with talking about the next film. If you're familiar with Wes Anderson's style, to me, Ozu is similar to that. Just less like in your face, less overwhelming, a bit more subtle. He has like centered framing. I like that it's like the actors are talking to the camera. You'll see one person, they'll be like sitting across from each other, and you'll see this one person, and then suddenly just like flips directly to the other person, just standing right in front, sort of like this. This is what I'm this is what I'm using as an example. And I really like the color palettes that he has. Sort of like soft pastel colors, specifically with Equinox flower, like this like light rose pink colors is seen throughout the film. I like that. Okay, but because my storage space is running really low, so this is probably going to be shorter than I want it to be. The second film that I watched, though, was The Third Man from 1949, directed by Carol Reed, and this was so engaging and really interesting. I don't have like too many notes. I mean, I sort of do, I sort of don't. I was actually sort of spoiled for this though, because one time I was on TCM, or like I just turned on my TV and it's always on TCM, or I had just finished something and then I caught the scene from The Third Man, and it's like right in the middle of the film. It's like the turning point. I'll spoil it. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna spoil The Third Man if you haven't seen it. But it's when Harry Lime shows up, and of course it's Orson Welles. Like, you knew that Orson Welles was in the film. Like, I feel like it's kind of not even a spoiler, because there's so many iconic shots from this movie that, like, Orson Welles hadn't showed up within the first like hour of the film, and I'm like, well, he's obviously Harry Lime. Like, it just made sense. But also, I had seen that scene before where Joseph Cotton's character is, like, walking across the street, and then Orson Welles is in the shadow, and then he's like, Harry? Like, and so I knew that he was alive the whole time. So that did not compromise my enjoyment of the film, though. I really like Joseph Cotton's character, whose name, Holly Martin. That's what I'm gonna go with. I don't know if Martin's right, but I'm gonna go with, I know it's Holly. And this is a big blind spot in the filmography of Joseph Cotton and Orson Welles that I hadn't seen yet, this film. So I'm also missing Citizen Kane. I haven't seen that yet. But I've now seen The Third Man, so check that off. And this, I mean, the most memorable part of it is this aspect of weird diagonals and framing and spiraling, and just, these are the descriptive words that I'm using. And it was kind of like disorienting, and it seems like those kind of shots and that kind of framing made it seem more action-packed. I was really intrigued by the actress who plays Anna. I would like to see more from her, and Orson Welles was just, like, he was so good in this. That scene when he, like, comes to talk to Holly, and he just, like, acts like nothing's happening, nothing's wrong. Like, I'm not dead. He makes it seem like everything's just casual and they're just meeting to talk, and it just makes Orson Welles seem like a brilliant actor. That I think we all know that he's brilliant in filmmaking, or at least I think that's most people's opinions. And it also made his character seem like really charming, even though you know that he's a bad guy even before more is found out about his character and how bad of a guy he really is. And then lastly for this video, the third movie that I watched this month was The Haunted Strangler from 1958, and I forget the director's name, but this just, like, wasn't very good, so I don't have that much to say about it. The best part was Boris Karloff. Yeah, just the way that he was acting. My thing about this is, I wanted to watch, like, a sort of scary movie, and it just wasn't, and it seemed like it was going for more of a mystery, and it just wasn't a mystery, even though it had that tone to it. It just was really obvious who the Strangler was. Like, was it supposed to be a surprise? Because it wasn't. It just 100% was not. So I didn't explain what The Third Man was about, but The Haunted Strangler is about this guy who thinks that he's really interested in this one Strangler who's become really famous, and he's just interested in the cases. And then he comes up with this theory that the guy that they had executed as the Strangler was not really the Strangler. So he wants to figure out who the real Strangler was. And then he finds out who the Strangler... It just, like, it was really obvious. There were, however, a few, like, when I was thinking about it, like, if I was actually in the situation of a few of the scenes, it would actually be horrifying. So in that sense, it was like a horror movie or a scary movie, but that was it. I just wouldn't really recommend this. It's in the Mad Men and Monsters box set, and I would still like to see the other films that are a part of that, but this was just, it was disappointing, but also not what I really wanted. I mostly watched it because it's really short. So the next video will probably be, you know, the next video in this sort of series, talking about the next 3 films that I watched this month so far in this sort of movie challenge. Thank you for watching. I'd love to know what you think of these films, if you've seen them, and go ahead and give me any recommendations that I should watch later in the month if there's one that you highly suggest. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!